Welcome back to 6-5 on the road. We are here in Austin, Texas, which is a good thing. We're at Zoholics, I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's where we are. And it's a really interesting conference with a really interesting software, and nobody knows that better than our next guest.
Exactly, Corey. The chief evangelist himself is here, going to be talking about all things news, what's going on. And he's been at the company for a very long time, so you're going to get a great picture of the evolution. Please welcome Raju Vagesna, chief evangelist at Zoho. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for having me.
Lots of news this morning across collaboration, security, privacy, CRM, etc. Talk a little bit about some of the things that were announced today and the impact that you see it having on customers.
Yeah, the biggest announcement is really on the CRM side, where we are previewing what's coming, and we provided early access. It's about changing the game in the CRM. We're expanding the scope significantly. We think that is the next evolution of CRM.
Let's talk about how you're expanding it specifically.
Historically, CRM is very specific to the sales team.
Right.
While you say that, yeah, it is customer relationship management, but it is really sales relationship management.
Sure.
Because for various reasons, not a lot of other teams were using it. Now we said, what if we optimize it in such a way that every team that is involved with a customer benefits from it? So in this case, we are saying, hey, if you have a legal involved with the customer, maybe legal team should have a specific experience. If your finance team is involved, then they should get a specific experience. So if your account management team is involved, they should get a different experience. So there are multiple parties involved. Then how can we create a system so that each party feels that everything is designed for them?
Yes.
Because each one of them have their own specific processes, their own set of requirements, their own, look and feel that they want, yet still connected to the same core, and make it in such a way that it is extremely customizable, and more importantly, each team feels that.
Well, you almost have to, right? If you're going to go, what legal needs to see is not what sales needs to see, and vice versa.
Totally. And historically, that wasn't the case, where that flexibility didn't exist. And that's why that option historically has been restricted to sales. And also, it had to be rationed because CRM was pretty expensive. And you would think twice before you would give legal access and your accounting team with access. Yeah.
Exactly. You mentioned the word customization. We've had a couple of customers, of Zoho customers on. We had OP360 and we had Simco on, and both of them talked about the importance on the customization. In fact, I think it was Simco who talked about his IT team not knowing who Zoho was, and them thinking, are you crazy for choosing this solution? But when they saw what it did and the ability to customize, they were blown away, and it was next level. And so we're hearing that from the voices of your customers, but also what you're really describing is the true democratization of CRM.
Yeah.
Because to your point, before it was sales, customer, well, there's a lot of other people that touch the customer, but they want, it's like in our consumer lives, we want this personalized, relevant experience online, and we want the same thing in our business lives. And Zoho is delivering that out.
Yeah, historically that meant writing a lot of scripts and code and all of that. But can you make it so simple that customizing a CRM is as simple as customizing the home screen of your phone and various other aspects?
Yeah.
And that is what we have put together, a lot of tools that you can simply drag and drop and place things the way you want, and everything is delivered. A complex functionality, but simplified for an end user so that anyone can do it.
And an user that doesn't need to be IT.
Doesn't have to be IT.
Right.
We've talked to so many people at this conference who are saying, I'm not an IT guy, but I'm not an IT guy, and they can do all these things with Zoho.
With Zoho, and yet, so that also allows these individual groups I was talking about, the legal, when legal can figure out how to customize it to their need without having to contact an IT or someone else to do it, that's a win.
Because those guys are lazy and not that smart. Lawyers.
Well, each hour they spend costs a bit. They would rather spend it on the customer.
Billing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to touch on AI, because I saw this morning in the analyst media session, you said, and this is an interesting quote, the best use of AI is when a user doesn't know they're using AI, but they get value from it.
Yeah.
Explain that more. How realistic is that?
How many of us get excited about HTTP?
Right.
It's there. It gets the job done. and it's an essential part of what we call as the internet, the web. Yet we don't think about it. AI, we see it the same way. In other words, AI will be everywhere. Is that we will not think about it, just that it so happens that we benefit from it on a daily basis. That's where we see AI headed, and that's what we are taking as a priority. If you take AI as a technology, people don't get excited by technology. It is the technologies that get excited by the technology.
Yeah.
People get excited about what they can do with the technology, and the technology doesn't matter at that point. And that is where we see AI going, and we certainly see AI becoming a commodity as a technology. That means it is pervasive, it is everywhere in every product. So people just they do not care about what technology they are using. It is all about what benefit are they deriving from it. That is what we see going, and that is what we are working towards.
What about the security angle? Because security is a big concern where AI is concerned. Privacy, hallucinations. How do you bridge those challenges that we know are extant?
Yeah, you can use AI for security purposes. For example, we have taken one of our models, like phishing model, embedded that into a browser, Ulla. So you can use AI in the context of a browser. Now look at it from a user point of view. I go to somebody sends me a link. I click on the link and open that link. If that is a phishing link, the system should tell you that it's a phishing link. The user will be thankful that we alerted them. They are not thinking what AI technology enabled this.
Right.
That's a good point.
What we have done is embedded that phishing AI model into the browser.
Put the fire out. I don't care how you put the fire.
It is not the technology, it is the problem that you're solving.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. And now how you do it,
Vision.
taking the privacy into consideration is the key thing. So you can obviously solve a problem, but you cannot use or abuse customers' data. And that is where we take a different stance in the industry, where it's a privacy-centric thing. And that is the reason we launched a browser, and that is the reason a lot of what we do is extremely privacy-centric, where the defaults are no when it comes to using users' information to train our generic models. So if the customer explicitly says, hey, use my data to train your model, then we'll do it. But the default is no.
Right.
Right.
Which customers surely want, and that's going to be an issue for more and more companies as the AI model, the large language models out there are starting to sort of reach some barriers because the information that's public has already been vectorized and crunched in by these models, but all the other information isn't.
And all that other information that isn't, particularly that is behind the firewall, it is not just access control, or it is access control.
Right.
It is not just hidden from the public, that it is access control at the individual user level. So unless you add that access control layer on top of the AI model, you're not gonna, make progress there. Or I see the AI analogy with the public and private data very similar to the enterprise search market.
To the what?
Enterprise search market.
Oh yeah, I
Yes.
would agree.
Like Google dominates the search market.
Right.
In the
enterprise
public search
right.
market. But why didn't they dominate the enterprise search market?
Because they couldn't crawl the enterprise data.
Exactly, because it is behind an access controlled environment,
Okay.
and the permission structure and all of that comes into play.
And that gave the world room to have an elastic or
Exactly.
something. Companies that go in and look at private companies.
Private companies. So in other words, in order to get the enterprise search right, you need to have an access control, authorization, access control, and authentication layer.
Well, it puts you guys in a position to have some really important AI tools, really useful AI tools, because you've already got that access. It's already there.
Exactly. Not a lot of companies do have that layer. That is why security, to your point, is an important. If you don't have that layer, and if you do not have the data which is controlled, if you don't have both layers, it is almost impossible to.
You have the keys to the kingdom.
Yes.
Now you can exploit what's in the kingdom if the customer wants you to.
Exactly. I won't use the word exploit. Now, yeah, from a customer can decide whether they want to exploit the data that they have.
Well, we were using the word conviction later. We didn't mention handcuffs. So we can mention exploit and also mean it in a positive way.
Yeah, certainly.
That's much leverage. Yeah.
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 So just because we have that, we're not using all our customers' data to train our models, but we are providing models so that the customers can use their data and refine the models that we provide on the data that they have, and then they can decide what they want to do with that.
So we talked earlier about CRM for everyone, and everybody from sales to legal to finance to HR across an organization is going to be able to have this contextual access, this democratization. But there's also news that came out today where Zoho is focusing even more on the developer experience. Can you share a little bit about that, and where does that fall in your overall vision?
Sure. I mean, Zoho is a platform. Now, you can only call it a platform if you can extend it.
Yeah.
The platform has to be
Oh,
extended.
no, they can call it. But everyone calls themselves a platform. It doesn't mean they should.
And it's true.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, to extend it, you need a series of tools. Some tools will be like a no-code tools at all, make it easy so that you simply drag and drop like your iPhone home screen. Or sometimes maybe you don't mind writing some scripts. Those are the low-code tools. Then there are pro-code tools out there.
Yeah.
So we have about 10 plus tools at various levels of the spectrum doing various things, whether it's extending the existing application, integrating the application to a third-party application, or creating a brand new application out there. So if you look at these two metrics, where on one dimension you have extensions and all of that, the other dimensions you have low-code, no-code, pro-code tools. We have about 10 plus tools. So we are doing two things here. One, we are adding a new tool to the toolkit. We're calling Aptix for developers.
Aptix, yes.
And then we are also deepening an existing tool called Catalyst. And there we are adding several services out there that to deepen that. So it's yet another iteration of our tools, providing additional tools for the developer to expand the platform.
Can you share a little bit more about what some of these new capabilities and features are that developers will get to really double click on?
Sure. Let's say I'm a developer, I want a good NoSQL database on the cloud. Well, now they can do that on the Zoho platform. They can pretty much create their own database, a structured database, or also unstructured as well we support. Now we are adding a NoSQL to it out there. Similarly, if you're developing, you're continuously rolling out things, and a continuous development. So processes are something that we are rolling out called pipelines. And as they develop applications, they need some tools to create some user interfaces. But we are rolling out some tools for that. Similarly, we are also rolling out tools to manage events and all of that. Obviously, these are all developer-related things. What we have done is to create this platform that scales to say 100 plus million users. We had to develop a lot of technology. We took portions of the technology and we are making it accessible to all the developers so that, hey, you don't have to be restricted to Zoho. You can use it to develop anything between any two third-party applications that Zoho has nothing to do with. So we're creating and exposing some of the basic infrastructure through the developer platform.
But you're also at a point where you really know how your customers are using your software.
Yes.
And you've been able to learn for a long time what that is. And you're in a better position to analyze that better now.
Yeah.
And then finally, you're in a position to write new code using AI tools so quickly. So again, based on knowing what your customers do, knowing more about what your customers do, because thanks to the more modern tools and AI analytics and BI or whatever.
Yeah.
And then use AI. It seems like you're at a point where you're going to be able to launch so many new things so much more quicker than you ever had, more quickly than you
Totally.
have.
You nailed it. That's the advantage.
That's one in a row for me.
So yeah, I think the pace of innovation is a critical piece for us. As is, we have one of the broader platform and the deeper one. It's a progression from here on. So we are excited about all these new announcements and new things, but I think the developer productivity will increase, and there are other things that will go on.
What's been some of the feedback over the last day and a half or so from customers, as well as the partner ecosystem, in terms of all these new capabilities that are being unleashed and some of the freedoms that you're giving developers, as you just talked about, to do with other third-party tools?
The feedback has been amazing. To some extent, there are some people that basically say, "Hey, you're overwhelming again, yet another Zoholics." So there are a lot of cookies here.
Yeah.
And which one do I start?
Yeah.
There are some partners who already got early access to this, and we have been getting some good positive feedback. But this typically happens at every Zoholics. There are a lot of new things coming. There are also enhancements to existing ones. And then there is always things, hey, I want to quickly migrate. Can I do that right away?
Yeah.
So it's a super good positive dialogue.
Yeah.
We're excited about where we are.
Last question for you. As you said 24 years
Yeah.
at Zoho, and it's only 28 years. It's 28 years young, but you've been there pretty much from the beginning.
Yeah.
Really, what excites you about the direction the company's going, the philosophy, the vision as its chief evangelist?
It's a fundamental core beliefs and values that drives it. Because the reality is, what we create now, at some point, maybe 10, 20 years from now, will be relevant.
Yeah.
Because what we created 20 years back, the products don't exist today.
No.
And what we create now may not exist 20 years
That's
from now.
innovation.
Yeah, that's innovation.
Yeah.
Now, what really drives is there are fundamental values that become the platform for the company, the beliefs, the people. People are the same. Products changed, people didn't. Right? And industries changed, but the philosophy didn't. So what excites us is basically the group of people that we love working with and constantly creating things.
Yeah.
So love creating things. And that's part of the fun. So we'll keep doing it.
And you have the platform to do it. Raju, thank you so much for joining Corey
appreciate it.
Programs. This has been a great, really kind of dissection of the evolution of Zoho, what you're achieving for customers, for developers across industries and across the globe for 100 million people, users and more. So thank you for your insights.
No, thank you for coming. Really appreciate it.
We've got more great stuff from Zoholics in Austin, Texas when 6-5 on the road continues.